you go to Google and write DC, Robin, and Romani, you will find some screenshots of the comics. Where will you find that they used Romani language?
And for me, as a young girl, started with our history and our civil rights. It was him. So it was Romani Rosa because he started in Germany with other people.
When I think about Roma heroes, first one like Raymond Girim.
When you want to start and learn about the history, you find a lot of people who did that before
Welcome to the Amaro Voice podcast. Amaro is from the Romani language and means our. Our Roma, Sinti and Roma voices among Europe. My name is Sejnur Memisi. I'm journalist and Roma activist. Hello Melissa, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine, and you? I'm Melissa Sejdi, and I'm 26 years old. I'm also Roma activist, and I'm the new co-host.
Yeah, and today we will talk about heroes. So, what means Roma to have a hero, something like role model, but also first we will talk basically about what it means to have people who can be heroes for Roma, and then later we will also look about fictional heroes, and at the end also fictional products, figures, and shows which was or are very racist or like anti-Gypsistic. Thanks for watching us. If you want to support us, you can like this video and give us a comment. And to not miss our episodes, you can subscribe our YouTube channel. If you are watching or listening right now on Spotify or listen on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts, you can follow our podcast to get all informations from us. Go and follow us on Instagram and TikTok, Amaro Voice. So, what does it mean for us or for in general for many people from many countries to have Roma heroes, or why is it important when you are young to have heroes? You know.
I think when we all was childs, for me, my hero was my dad, especially my dad. And after you learn about the Roma history and you think about, I mean, for me, when I started about to learn about the Roma history, I started, okay, who was the person in Germany when the civil rights for the Roma and Sinti get started? And I saw and I hear a lot about Romani Rose. And for me, as a young girl, started with our history and our civil rights. It was him. So it was Romani Rose because he started in Germany with other people. I mean, his history is so interesting and so strong. He stands there and talk also right now with other people. He do that his whole life. So I think that shows you how hard is it to build our civil rights, and that we have a lot to do also in the future.
Yeah, when I think about Roma heroes, so the only name it came to my mind, or maybe two names, are first one like Raymond Girim. He was Manouche from France, and he was a survivor during the Holocaust. So he escaped many times the concentration camps in Germany and in France. I'm not sure about Auschwitz, but he escaped many times, you know. And he escaped the concentration camp, was going to work and collected food and like water, you know, and was going back to the concentration camp to give food to his family and other people who was there, and also like Rukli Trollman. You know, these people are like who was fighting against the NS regime and also like during this Holocaust time. But I think why is it important to have something role model or hero what maybe people from other communities or like people who are not Roma maybe cannot understand. Many Roma people don't identify or don't show their identity. So we say it like it's like outing. So they don't say that they're Roma because they're afraid to fear to experience anti-Gypsism, racism. So I think that's why because when you like when you are Roma and your community is originally from another country, but you live like example in the Western Europe, like far away from your community, and maybe you are alone in some places where you don't have other Roma and you just see bad stereotypes. Stereotypes will be later we will talk about in our rubric, but also when you just see in the media negative and you hear from other people negative, so maybe also you start to believe. So that's why I think it's important to have something like heroes.
Right. Also, when you, yeah, when you start with your civil rights organization, or when you want to start and learn about the history, you find a lot of people who did that before you. And Senu, who is your hero?
So my hero, when I was younger, so still is something like hero because I see him for myself as a role model. I mean, he wasn't always um, like good guy, so he wasn't always in the role model how he behaved. But I think that when you see his life, his experiences, what he did and what he was doing, is for me a role model. So I never had when I was younger like Roma role model, but my role model is Eminem. So he came from like very poor neighborhood and was like just living with his mom, and it's I think something like trailer park neighborhood, and he was successful with his music, instead of doing some bad things. So when I was younger, so Eminem is my role model, still is, and so I was listening a lot of music from him.
Yeah, I watched the movie. It was so good. And I like him
Yeah.
also a lot. And it's really interesting his history and what he's going to do in his life. And yeah, I think it's a good role model to see how his life was, and maybe you competed with your own life, kind of.
When I was for winter, when I was having a hat, I was wearing it like him, and
Oh,
yeah, so I was like very. Okay, so we will start. So we already talked about heroes. So what does it mean to be a hero for the Romani community and also for the Sinti, Manouche, and other? It's like real heroes. And I would like to talk with you about fictional heroes. So I had 4 years ago a project where I was making a research about heroes and also podcasts in German
I
language.
remember.
I think I was also interviewing you for one episode, and
Right.
so I have some first question for you. Are you into DC, Marvel, or anime?
I love Marvel. I love DC. It's kind of, I don't know, it's really hard to say who I like more. So Marvel or DC? I mean, I love DC for some uh figures, but yeah, I like both. I can't say who's better. I
Mhm.
mean, I that's normal. But yeah, Marvel and DC, it's really good.
Yeah, I think Marvel was until 2019 with the Avengers Endgame movie. It was had like a peak time. It was very good, but after that, Marvel started to get boring, and I think because they was doing a lot of movies. But yeah, so I was also a lot of into Marvel and DC, but now not so much anymore. But uh, like now maybe more anime than Marvel and DC. Um, so because Japanese people tell the stories differently, like Americans, and it's interesting. So in the DC and Marvel, there are a lot of Romani characters. So also Stan Lee, who was creating Marvel and a lot of characters for Marvel, his parents was immigrants from Romania. Also interesting that Stan Lee knew about Roma. I think it's because of his roots, because his parents came from Romania, and also when he was creating characters, maybe the superpowers and other things can be talked about are maybe stereotypical, but the wording was never the racial slur. It was always talking about Roma or Romani. So maybe you heard about Doctor Doom, Wanda, Quicksilver.
I know the character Wanda that we talked about, that you told me
Hmm.
that she is from a Roma community. So, do you have some can you tell me something about that?
Hmm. So the thing is, we need to decline. So when we talk about Marvel and DC and we say they're Roma, we talk about the original comic books, how they wrote in the comic books. Of course, in the movies, they don't use this kind of story or background story for the characters. So when you see the Marvel movies like Wanda Maximoff, aka Scarlet Witch, who was in many Avengers cinema movies, they never use this background story for her that she's Roma. So Wanda Maximoff has a twin who has also superpowers. Who's called Quicksilver. So they are like twins, and they created like a fictional country which is related. Is like can be somewhere where Serbia and Bulgaria is. So they are Roma and have superpowers. Are twins and uh, so they have two background stories. One background story is that Magneto is their dad, and the other is just, um, but they live with other like people who are not their parents, but they are Roma. And the other background story is that they are Roma, but they live with their uncle and aunt, so they don't live with their parents. So
I'm sad about it that in the movies it's not really interesting other people about the background from these characters. And also, I mean, we have good actors, they are also Roma, from the Roma community. I thought that it will be really good for our community and also for other people they're interested, um, to see, okay, that's the background, that's in the comics, so let's show them also in the movie the same thing and the same character history with the the Roma actors. Not only
hmm.
Roma actors, so with the actors with this community, you have also other communities in the Marvel characters comics.
Yeah, or at least mention it and make it authentic. So I mean,
Right.
I'm curious in the future because you heard about Doctor Doom. This is now the next character. He's also a Roma, also from the Marvel universe. Um, he's like the. Do you know maybe Fantastic Four,
Yeah.
the movie? So maybe Doctor Doom is kind of not superhero but the protagonist, the villain from of the Fantastic Four or others. Dr. Doom is something like a scientist and who started to get like a villain. And it will be interesting because, um, maybe Robert Downey Jr., the actor who was playing Iron Man in the next Marvel Avengers movie, he will play
Play
Doctor
Doctor
Doom.
Doom.
So they showed like in conference. It was like in USA, like Comic Con, I think, and he will play. So I'm curious to see how will they tell the story. Will they recognize? Will they tell? So will they show that he is Roma? Maybe him some talking in few words in Romani, or like when there's talk to background story. So we will see how they will do.
Hopefully something.
And maybe the most famous from DC, like DC has less, but DC has one, and he's from a famous a fictional, like the sidekick of Batman, Robin. He was as a young children first Robin, then later He's called Nightwing, and there are also even comic books with Robin on Nightwing, where they show his background story, but also where he meets some old guy who is a friend to his grandpa, and he speaks with them in Roma language.
Really? I didn't know that. That's interesting.
I think it's the Kaltarash dialect or Anglo-Romani, I don't know. But if you go to Google and write DC, Robin, and Romani, and then when you go to the pictures, you will find some screenshots of the comics. Where will you find that they used Romani language when he was talking to his dad in like a background story, because Robin, like his parents, spoiler, but okay, like they died, from an accident, and so they show like background stories, how he was talking to his dad in few words in Roma language, and also when he was older, there was like some scene where he was going to the graveyard to from his parents or grandparents, and then he met some old guy when he was talking to him in Roman language. I think it's interesting.
I will search that. It's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Now, also, it's interesting for me that because in anime there's also some Romani characters, and so like Roma are known even in Japan, and Full Metal Alchemist is like an anime, and anime is also like they have a series, but also sometimes they get movies, and they have one movie it's called Conqueror of Shambhala, and there is one character who is called Noah. So it plays in the time between the First and Second World War, like in Germany in like 1920. So they show people who can be Sinti or Roma, but also they talk in Romani language. And it's also interesting, the activist from Berlin, Tayo Awuzusi Onoto, and she's also a singer, and she was doing the soundtrack for this movie. So I remember when I met Tayo Awuzusi Onoto for the first time, then when I know in the group we talked about anime, and then she saw that we are into anime, and then she asked us, "Do you know this anime?" And then she said, "Yeah, we know it." And then she was like surprised that this anime is famous and that we know it. And then she told us she was singing the soundtrack for this movie, like for the German dub,
Mm,
and then we was like, "Wow, cool." So actually, it's
that's
something
nice.
good because the anime is the topic is about Roma. So the anime is not about Roma, but the anime movie, like special movie, is about Roma, and then they used Roma people for this. So I think it's cool.
That's good. I mean, that we can learn for the future for other movies or, I
Yeah,
don't know, for other things. Put people from our community inside, guys.
yeah. And now on Amaro Voice, we have a new category. Maybe you saw it on the last episode, which is called "Break Stereotypes About Roma." We want to use AI and to see what thinks AI about Roma and about Antigipsysm. So I asked ChatGPT, can you give me 10 examples of stereotypes about Roma and Sinti? And last week, for the last episode, we had our first stereotype. So stereotype number 2 is Roma don't work, or Roma don't want to work. They are lazy, they don't have jobs, but also, even ChatGPT say there is a cliche that they don't want to work and prefer to live on social benefits. In reality, there are many working and well-educated Sinti and Roma. So ChatGPT is acknowledging that the reality is different. So what do you think about first about the stereotypes?
First, I think about it, it's good that ChatGPT also write like this. So to tell you it's not true. So I think also when you write different other stereotype stuff inside or ask ChatGPT, you need to have this trigger warning or disclaimer. And I don't know, it's every time kind of same cliche or stereotypes that we hear. And I mean, come on,
Yeah,
guys, it's not true.
yeah,
You have people
yeah,
who work, and you have also in the society people who don't work, and only that you are Roma and you don't want to work. That's not true, guys. So I don't know what to say about this stereotype because it's so boring and so typical question or when you talk about, oh, you're a Roma or what do you think about Roma? And then, oh yeah, there are people there not working and they are do nothing or something like that.
I think I can give one example and then it will be very clear. So I don't know about other Romani communities, or because we are so diverse. We have over 80 dialects and every dialect has its own community, something tribes, different religions. So of course there's maybe some people who don't want to work, but there are also, surprise, Germans, Spanish people, English people, I don't know, Italians, French people who also don't want to work. So it's the same example like for last week, but I don't want to repeat myself. Like, my family is originally from Kosovo, but because of the war, so my relatives don't live in Kosovo anymore, so they live more in Western Europe, like Italy, France, and Germany. But I have still also relatives in Serbia. So if you are Roma from Serbia and you live in Serbia, example like for South Serbia, like Niš, I have a lot of family members there. And if you are living in the Romani Mahala, so in the Roma neighborhood, and you are Roma, and if you ask for a job and they see you and they know you from which Mahala, from which neighborhood you live, because not also that you will not get jobs as a Roma, you will also not get job because you live from this Mahala, from this neighborhood.
I mean, in Germany you have that, or in West Europe you have it also like that. I mean, who knows who's Roma or not? Who say that? So you have also lawyer, you have doctors, you have in different jobs you have people they are Roma. The only thing is that they didn't say it because also they are get scared about it. Okay, when I say I'm a Roma, maybe some people struggle with me or I'm afraid about my job.
Okay, so this was our rubric, break stereotypes about Roma. And now we are already talked in our rubric about stereotypes, about anti-Gypsism. So I would like to talk with you some examples, some fictional characters who are not definitely not heroes, but who have very anti-Gypsism, racistic, how they was written. From Disney example, Esmeralda is like the best
Uh
example, I think. Uh, you know Esmeralda from Disney?
yeah, of course.
Then also the Hunchback of Notre Dame, like the Quasimodo. So how they wrote the story also. Imagine you are young, like you are 5 to 8 to 10, and you are on this age where you watch Disney cartoons and you are part of the Romani community, and you know that you're part of the Romani community, and maybe also as young children from your parents, you know that the racial slur is bad and it's not good. Maybe you started to experience anti-racism like in kindergarten, in school. So what do you think? What it makes with you as a young children when you watch these cartoons, these Disney products with like racist and stereotypes, with anti-Gypsism, racial slur, using the Z word in Germany or the G word in like in English context.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, when I remember when I was a child, I loved Esmeralda. I mean, I loved her. She was a dancer. She looks good, and I kind of identify with her. But now I struggle with that because now you understand it differently. In the past, whenever you was a child, you see that with different eyes, and you don't understand really why these people they look like that, have problems in this community, and why she looks like a witch or she's a good dancer and why everyone hates her. And now you know, okay, that's stereotyping. She's a good dancer, she looks like that, everyone looks like that. I mean, you have also other characters in Notre Dame. um they're Roma, or looks like they're kind of Roma, like golden earrings, or I don't know, actors. And For me, it was really hard because this one guy, I don't know the name, he was a higher position there who killed the family from Esmeralda, and no, it was from Quasimodo, the family, I know, and he needs to protect Quasimodo, and it's really hard. When I was a child, I loved this character, but now you see, okay, guys, that's stereotyping, and they use this word in the German language, and that's not okay. So also, I don't know with if you see that also when you have Disney movies right now, they put a trigger warning or a disclaimer before they present the movie from the old movies. I think that's a really good thing that when you show old movies, they are not so political right. So show the disclaimer so the people can see, okay, that's not right, that's stereotyping, that was from the past. It's not that what we think right now about the people, or we know it better right now.
So you know why I ask you, and it's also interesting for me to know because when I was younger, I never watched Disney movies and cartoons. Like I never liked this American style of things, like the cartoon stuff and Disney. So never was into Disney. I think it's interesting also for me to hear what it makes with you when you see something like this, and I think also what you say also other people can relate with this because when they was younger and was watching this, you know. And I think it's also interesting that uh, it shows like Disney or other cartoons are interested in Roma, but they don't know much. They see it something like a mystic, something mysterious, and something like uh, they're not educated well, I think. So um, that's why they always use racial slur. So not always when somebody use racial slur or when they are anti-gypsistic, they are not like poor, evil, and racist, like to be like far right, you know. So sometimes you can you be anti-gypsistic or use racial slur for just not being educated, and I think if these companies would be better educated, then they can or would be possible to tell good stories for children about Roma and um, something like Disney or other. I think I think it's possible because they start now to do like extra stories for people from Latin America, for Native Americans with Wayana, how this series is, it's like a serious extra from. I mean, I don't know how are there if they have stereotypes there, but I think there is a change, and but the change didn't start it when it comes to Roma people.
I mean, you have also actors, they are from the community who speaks this character, and I think that's a good point to change. So be with the community together, talk about it, what you want to do as a Disney company when you want to do a movie. Not only Disney, every movie company, and then find a way to produce a wonderful movie with no stereotypes, and also maybe find good actors who can play the role because they are from the community. And I think that's more, for me, it's much better. It's more interesting because oh my god, that's really like that. It's not like false information. So I think that's a good point for the future to do movies with other communities like that.
We are coming almost to the end. Now we will talk about anecdotes, like in the last episode. So in every episode, like in the last episode, we mentioned in every episode at the end, we will talk about anecdotes. So maybe you have also one. If you want, I can start, and then maybe you can think about it.
Yeah. story.
So I have one anecdote. It's also like something about heroes. So actually, who inspired me to make research about fictional Roma heroes is Vicente Rodriguez, because I was in 2018 in a workshop um, with it was something at the European Youth Center in Budapest. It was like a workshop organized by Ergo Network and Tenipel together. So, and the European Youth Center have like one in Strasbourg and one in Budapest. And I was on this one in Budapest in 2018, and we was in different groups, and every group had like tasked to do a presentation. So before the presentation, we had like a workshop with Vicente Rodriguez where he was talking about Magneto, about Roma heroes, and actually he's the one who inspired me. And then on this group, we created like a comic book front art cover. We created a Roma hero. We was doing the background, creating, drawing a hero. We was talking about how can be this hero be named and are his superpowers. So like the topic was anti-Gypsysm. We make a title so like against anti-Gypsysm. So like for Roma heroes, So
Mm.
um, but then with Vicente Rodriguez, when he was doing like his presentation about Marvel and like heroes, this was the point where I got inspired, and also then um, 3 years later did my own project, my own research about this topic.
Maybe I can say something like that because we talk about a lot of Marvel, and after you told me about Wanda is from the Roma community, I was so proud of that, and I said, "Oh my God!" Now when they do something about Wanda, and because they produce a series on Disney, did you saw that? So they have Wanda and a Vision
Mhm.
together, and I thought, oh, okay, that's really interesting. Maybe they show something about that. And after I see it's nothing about her Roma identity. After that, I didn't watch that really well. I thought about it. Oh no, Wanda again. No, I don't want to see that anymore. It was also with Doctor Strange, the last movie when Wanda was there inside. Um, I said no.
Yeah.
Nope, sorry, I'm out. I'm so out. When you have something with Roma identity and put it inside in a movie, call me. I will watch that. But before that, no thanks.
I even remember, I'm not sure, but I think a few years ago there was even a petition from many Romani people, I think from UK, and I'm not sure, or USA, they make like a petition for Marvel that they should use for Roma characters, like Roma
Yeah.
actors and actresses. So, yeah, I hope in future, but I think I'm not sure that they will use in the movies. So, I don't know.
If you don't put actors inside, please inform your people, inform for the movie what's going on, what stereotypes you use, and talk with the community. They want to help you. When you call me and say, "Oh, Melissa, can we talk about this movie?" For example, can you tell me if this is a stereotype? Call us. We don't say no. We say yes. Come on. We want that you show us right, not wrong.
Thanks for watching or listening. See you next time. See you next week. Ciao and the blesser.
Bye.
This podcast is funded by der Stiftung Erinnerung, Verantwortung und Zukunft EVZ as part of the project Amaro Voice, digitale Bildungsarbeit über die Communities der europäischen Sinti und Roma bei der NGO Medien- und Kulturzentrum Deutscher Roma e.V.